Slava Boshilova now with the white gloves on, replacing John Lehman.
We start off with a dry break. Oh, well, we don't. The 7 just dies of exhaustion at the last. And I think it's fair to say there have been some question marks over the racking so far today, so it'll be interesting to see if the change of referee for this next couple of matches changes that picture.
Well, the one thing that happened for much of the session was the 9 ball going towards that right-hand top pocket, and it is there again. Now, you don't fancy this one, do you? Horrible queuing over the 8 ball for the 1, and then the 2 is on the other side of the table.
Yeah, if he's planning the bank here, that really was the only option he had.
Well, if he does take on the bank, this is the key shot, because the rest of the rack is there for the taking. Notice on this table, if banks have been attempted, sometimes they're missing narrow. That time, completely the opposite, well wide.
Yeah, and he was pretty much guaranteed to be on the 3, so could focus on the pot, but long way out, as you say.
Had the 2 ball travelled a little more, it would have been a walk in the park for sure, but the 3 is blocking the potting angle.
They have already met in this tournament. They clashed in phase 1. Alcaide was the winner by 5 racks to 2. That was actually the first defeat Shaw had after winning all of his first 3.
Look at that, that was beautiful. The application of side widened the angle off the top cushion and allowed the cue ball to, I think, just nestle up, not in behind the 6, but nestle up to the 6. Well, again, the 3 ball comes to his assistance. Jayson Shaw cannot hide his disgust. Not saying this has been a lengthy session, Michael, but we've had 2 seasons. It started off outside, the weather was midwinter. Now it's bright sunshine, spring-like. Oh, he thought he'd trebled it. But what I was saying earlier about those banks, Michael, when you have those shots where the ball is quite close to the cushion and you're playing the cue ball close to the object ball as well, time and time again, the players are coming up narrow.
Yeah, it's certainly been borne out. And of course, the players pick up on these things themselves as the days go by, playing so many matches on these tables. And at some point, they're going to factor that in. Certainly has been a lengthy session, Phil. Normally we're wondering if the early play will be over in time for the mid-afternoon dinner. I think today we're just keen to ensure it's over before tomorrow morning's breakfast.
Don't exaggerate. will be okay. Eagle eyes at the table now. He'll race through this.
Being criticised by Phil Yates of all people for exaggerating is a bitter pill to swallow given his history. And Jayson Shaw has taken the opening rack against the break, incidentally, to lead David Alcaide 1-0. Let's see how it all fits in then to the table. We'll be looking at this many, many times tomorrow. So Joshua Filler, 14 wins, already on the brink of going through. Really, he's already thinking of getting as many wins as he can on the board to carry forward into Monday's conclusion, you would think. And then 3 players on 12. And Jayson Shaw, who we're watching at the moment, is on 11 after winning his first match of this phase earlier, 5-4 against Skylar Woodward. Woodward on 10 wins. He's greatly improved his position since yesterday morning. Now you see Alcaide has got to improve. He's outside the 6 at the moment. Alex Kazakis on the same number. And he's also got 8 matches to go for Tunsky. You see he's got a lot of ground to make up, and well, it's actually Omar Al-Shaheen is the other player down near the bottom. But they're both, I think it's fair to say, already looking for miraculous stuff if they're to be around for the conclusion on Monday. It's very savage now. It's almost half the players being eliminated at this stage. 6 will go through to Monday. They'll play a round-robin section, and 4 of those will be around for the semi-finals, to be followed by the final on Monday evening.
Here you can see Desislava Boshilova being very meticulous with the way she's racked.
Well, she's been around this morning, hasn't she? She's been listening to what the players have been saying and doesn't want to fall victim to the same sort of criticism and questions. Of course, this can slow things down a bit in itself when you're getting things absolutely right, but I'm sure the players would rather wait that little bit longer for the rack to give them the best possible opportunity. Jayson Shaw then took advantage of his opportunity to win the opening rack, and he starts us off in the second.
The 1 went in unconventional fashion. The 2 came around the table, pretty much coming to rest against the white.
And the 9 close to that corner again.
Even though he lost 5-4 to Francisco Sanchez Ruiz in the second matchup today, I thought Filler displayed an awful lot of patience, and I think that's what you've got to do when the balls are conspiring against you time and again. So easy to be overwhelmed by frustration, but it does you no good whatsoever.
Yeah, I've seen a few players get frustrated on this table already today.
Now, if Alcaide can see an awful lot of this 2-ball, Shaw might well come back to the table hooked.
Extension code.
It's noticeable, isn't it, Phil? So many of these top players look a bit awkward when they're using the bridge. They're not as accustomed to using it as snooker players would be to using the rest. Alban Ocean in particular is one who comes to mind. He looks a little bit clumsy with it in hand. It's not something they would practice very often.
That was purely and simply because the cue ball was so close to the top cushion. Such a good potter, Jayson Shaw, but even that tested him beyond his limits. Well, you simply cannot believe that did not fall in. The 3-7 combination, as the 3 was on its route, there was no doubt in my mind it was going to knock in the 7. And now, Jayson Shaw comes back to the table, thanking his lucky stars.
People often say about shots, they're quite routine. Well, that was harder to miss than to pot. I think in that instance it was probably true.
Can't imagine eagle eye missing here. What a reprieve that was.
Yeah, pretty rotten start for Alcaide. Had an epic match earlier today, beaten 5-4 by his good pal Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, just after they'd breakfasted together. And Jayson Shaw is eating up his opportunities at the moment. And that's why he leads 2-0.
Alcaide will be shaking his head in disbelief. How did that combination, that 3-7 combination, not end up in the pocket?
Just a reminder that tickets have gone on sale today for the World Pool Masters, which is going to be going back to Gibraltar in early May. Now you can see buytickets.gi, or you can go to matchroompool.com to get the details there. And such a strong field. We've heard today Mieszko Fortunski, who's involved here, has come into the field after a withdrawal of one of the other players. David Alcaide and Jayson Shaw will both be there. And Alex Kazakis, who you can see smiling away there in the middle of that picture, will be defending.
I'm really looking forward, like I know Carl Boys is, to seeing the Coe brothers back in action. The pandemic hit in early 2020. And it's deprived the international pool community of those two glittering stars. So to have them back will be terrific.
Yeah, it's been such a great 12 months for pool, but that's what's been missing, players like that. So they're gradually returning to the fold. Things can only get better. And of course, David Alcaide has won the World Pool Masters twice, Phil, and both times it's been a hill finish. But when he first won it, 5 years ago now, the man he beat in the final was the man he's playing today, Jayson Shaw.
I well recall that tournament. Shaw went into the final as quite a warm favourite. I think he was very confident he was going to get the job done, but Alcaide came good in the end.
And the man from Malaga will be going in as the number 2 seed behind world champion Alban Ocean.
Well, they say be thankful for small mercies, at least on this occasion. The 9-ball has remained relatively in mid-table.
Shout code.
Not that that has done any immediate benefit for Alcaide. Well, the push out. I think Shaw is quite correct to have a look at this. Don't want to make any hasty decisions.
Back to Alcaide.
But equally, I'm not surprised he's putting Alcaide back.
Extension code.
He's put himself in so much trouble, he needs the extension.
Self-inflicted difficulty, always the hardest to take. Ooh, that 9 was going some.
Yeah, it was the kind of shot off the top cushion first, into the 2. The 9 might have gone, but it never looked set on, did it? And obviously that's why Jayson Shaw refused it. He's a wonderful shot maker, Shaw. There's no way he would have turned that down had that been a relatively simple proposition.
These two were, of course, two of the chief reasons that Europe retained the Mosconi Cup in London just before Christmas. They actually played a doubles match together on the opening night, beat Skylar Woodward and Jeremy Jones 5-0. A result which deprived the Americans of the overnight lead they were pursuing.
Now, that wasn't cleanly struck. It was actually hit a little too thick. It just struggled in off the right-hand jaw as Shaw was looking, but he's okay anyway.
Frustrating day so far for David Alcaide. Couldn't get any rhythm going earlier against Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. Was beaten in that one, and he's 3-0 down now against Jayson Shaw, who'll be breaking when we come back. What a good day this is turning into for Jayson Shaw, the former US Open champion. He beat Skylar Woodward 5-4 earlier, and he's now leading 3-0 against David Alcaide, who's looking a little fed up in his chair. Things haven't gone his way at all today.
This actually is a repeat of the match we've just seen when Albin Aushin whitewashed Alexander Kazakis. Then Aushin went 3-0 up and was breaking off in rack 4. This time it's Shaw. Desislava Boshilova again, taking her time to make sure things are absolutely correct.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on it. You know that one of the best players in the world is about to break off, and we've seen the players not hiding their frustration at the breaking difficulties there have been today.
Rack 4, Jayson short break. Leading by 3 racks to 0.
One in, 2 open, although plenty of distance between cue ball and object ball. That said, if you're going to nominate someone to knock in a pot like this, it would be Shaw, or Filler maybe. If there's no value in taking it on, though, he's equally good at playing safety.
You could hear the sigh there, not happy with the outcome of that. Okay, he's got to start making something happen, hasn't he? Just as his mate, FSR, has got on a winning roll today. He's in danger of developing a losing habit. He's got another match coming after this against Alex Kazakis, which will follow on immediately on this table.
Yes, I think regardless of the outcome of this match, Alcaide Kazakis, considering where they are in the standings, that will be a real crunch affair. See what I mean about his safeties? The one great thing with Shaw, when he's playing thin pots, when he's playing thin safeties, he's so accurate. Maybe that's why they call him Eagle Eye.
See the number, brackets after his name there, 17 of all the players who you would expect to see improve their ranking over the course of this year. I would say him more than anybody. No way there are 16 better players in the world, but he did have a quiet 2021, and that's why he's been placed at that position in the new world ranking system. But he has spoken of getting his eye back on the ball, his eagle eye back on the ball this year.
It was a small gap, but he wanted to avoid 4 and 8. Failed. Again, that split safety, using just one ball to hide behind.
Extension code.
Recurring theme, this. Alcaide taking his extension to try and work out some tactical conundrum. This needs to fall. Oh, lucky.
Well, we said he needs to start making something happen. Not been his day so far. And you're 3-0 down against a player of Shaw's quality. These are the sort of opportunities cannot afford to pass up. And now it's Alcaide's turn to sigh. I think that tells you everything you need to know about how he feels about this Saturday so far.
Right-hand side on the cue ball. But now everything is resolved.
Yeah, back in prime position now. It's one of those days where very little is coming easily. Alcaide, who was whitewashed by Joshua Filler last night, has averted that possibility here. Back in it, 3-1 down, and he'll have the break next. And let's hear from Spain's David Alcaide.
Yeah, I play really good, no, all matches. I think my first match against my friend from Francisco, we play so nervous. It's the first match, the new table. But during the tournament, I take more confidence. I play much better. My break work much better. This is right for me. I prefer this format. You play for everybody, so many matches. Last year we played 6 matches per day. And sometimes it's so hard, no? You come to play for one group and maybe you go home next day. Here you have more possibility to give you your best level. I think this is much better format. I try to don't think too much for the next stage. I trying to think in my next match. I trying to win more game possibility, maybe I have chance to qualify the next stage.
Yeah, when he mentioned last year there, he was referring to the Championship League, which was played at Milton Keynes almost exactly 12 months ago, out of which this event has grown. And he almost won it. Got to the last day, got through the round-robin phase, then beat Chris Melling in the semi-final, and was beaten 5-1 by Albin Ocean in the final of that tournament. Ocean also beat him in the semi-finals of the World Championship. He had a decent run at the US Open last year, getting to the last 16. A couple of decent performances on the Euro Tour. So all in all, pretty good year for him. Got to take it up to that next level now, though, and try to win some of the very biggest events in 22. More immediate concern, though, is continuing his recovery in this match. He started it by winning the 4th rack, and he breaks in the 5th.
That is sweet. Three on, 5 sitting pretty. That's perhaps the most productive break, apart from the golden breaks we've seen on this table all day. All about screwing back now for the pink 4. But he didn't really time that as well as he possibly could have. He didn't need much more backspin to make this simple.
Extension code.
Well, if he gets in behind the 6, oh, talk about luck. I mean, he's played a terrible shot there, really, and poor old Jayson Shaw does have the jump, of course. Well, I think that's karma.
Yeah, Alcaide was bemoaning his luck earlier, but he's had a few decent rolls in recent racks. Shaw could have done no better with the jump.
Played that quite hard. He was a little concerned as the cue ball came back down the table, but with the check side off the second cushion, he was okay.
Alcaide's recovery has been halted in its tracks for now. With the break and with the 3 balls he potted off it, he would have fancied his chances of closing to 3-2, but instead it's Shaw who's now on the hill, and he'll be breaking in the next rack.
Yeah, words you don't want to hear when you're the opponent of Jayson Shaw. When he gets on the hill and he breaks off, the end quite often is very nigh.
Let's have a look at the standings. Bottom end of the table first. David Alcaide continuing just to fall into a bit of decline. Fortunsky and Al-Shaheen, as we said, both really needing pretty much perfection from here on in. Well, Alcaide isn't leaving himself much further room for manoeuvre if he keeps on losing. Could be under huge pressure now going into his match against Kazakis. And as you can see there, could climb into the qualifying spots with a win. So that's going to be a very big one coming up in a few minutes' time. Jayson Shaw sitting pretty though. He can join those others on 12. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz among that group. Yes, he's played a couple more matches than the players around him, but it's been a fantastic morning for him results-wise. And if he can continue that through the remaining matches he has today, he might not need to do very much tomorrow. Joshua Filler probably won't have a particularly big task tomorrow to claim his place on Monday. He's already really thinking about piling up the wins to take through to the final day. He's been the best player, and look at that racks difference he has. That's worth an extra point effectively. Plus 29 at this stage. He has just played so well.
Well, talking about racks difference, if Shaw were to win this match by any score, he would go into second place. Obviously, if he can win it by as wide a margin as possible, that really helps down the line.
Short break on the hill.
Might be nothing more Alcaide can do about it, depending on how this goes for Shaw. Well, can it be the 1-9 to finish? Seen so many combinations into that pocket already today. Well, he's gone the other way. He's played the billiard and he's closed it out. Jayson Shaw very abruptly ends the match. And he is still in very good shape here, continuing his forward momentum with a 5-1 win over